Patch note 1.7.24 is here. There are a lot of changes in this update. Finally, Kaja is getting into the eyes of Moontoon. Lesley's annual Starlight is here. Carmilla is getting another buff, and there are other changes too, which we will discuss in this video. Hi guys, Kazuki here, and in this video we are going to talk about the patch note 1.7.24 and all the changes made to it. Kaja was on the verge of being a dead hero, but this time Moontoon decided to tweak some of his abilities. There's some odd addition to the skill effects called the Paralyze effect. His passive Paralyze effect will now be able to reduce the movement speed of the enemy and lower their damage dealing ability by 4% for 3 seconds. And this effect can be stacked 6 times. His skill 1 will now reduce the cooldown of the Ring of Order skill by 0.25 seconds. And when using this skill, he will gain a small amount of HP upon damaging enemy heroes. And this skill will be able to trigger the Paralyze effect too. His second skill damage is slightly reduced and you will get the Paralyze effect on this skill too. His ultimate is also added with the Paralyze effect, and in exchange, the damage is nerfed slightly. Our Saint Boy Khalid is on the line of getting his buffs. His passive blink distance while performing the enhanced basic attack is slightly increased, but the force swing distance is reduced a little bit. Now his enhanced basic attacks will inflict a 40% slowdown effect for 1.5 seconds, and the previous Saint effect is removed. The damage now will have a 50 base attack with a 140% additional bonus from the physical attack items. His skill 1 got the best buff of all. It will pull the enemy and creeps hits by this skill. But they have nerfed the damage of this skill. Its damage is reduced by 10 points in the early level and by 40 points in the maximum level. Moving next, we have Gatod, who received a buff. His skill 2 dash distance is increased and the charge time needed to reach the maximum dash distance is reduced. Lesley got a buff. Developers are not satisfied with the recent performance of Lesley. So they decided that every lethal shot will deal true damage, meaning every passive shot will deal the true damage. The damage of the passive is also adjusted. You will now get 50 points of base damage with 100% of additional physical attack from the items. Fredrin got a buff. His passive is enhanced. The time taken for the combo points and the crystal energy to disappear is increased by 2 seconds. The base damage of the ultimate is also increased by 200 points at all levels, but the bonus added from the crystal energy will be reduced by 5%.
No sweat.
Esmeralda is getting a nerf. Her skill 1 shield is being reduced. She will now get 100 points of lace shield at all levels. The shield conversion rate is also reduced. The next nerf hero will be Paquito. He was surely dealing huge damage to the enemies, so his skill are tweaked a little bit. His enhanced skill 2 base damage is reduced by 80 points in the maximum level, and the physical bonus from items is reduced by 25%. His ultimate damage is nerfed too. The base damage is lowered by 50 points at early levels and by 150 points at the maximum level. And the physical bonus from items is reduced by 10%. The enhanced ultimate damage is lowered by 150 points in the late game.
My fists, my life.
Carmilla is getting buffed, and this buff is good. In her attributes, the stolen defense is increased by 1 point in the early game and reduced by 1 point in the late game. Her ultimate slow effect is increased by 40% in the first phase and 60% in the second. Magic power bonus is reduced by 30%. The linked damage ratio is reduced by 20%. The linked control ratio is increased by 30%. Her special partner skill is adjusted. The base shield is increased by 300 points at all levels, but the cooldown is increased by 25 seconds. Lesley is getting buffed. Her ultimate range is increased by 8 yards at all levels. Can this be beneficial? Do comment down below. Valentina is getting nerfed. Her mobility is slightly reduced. The blink distance of her skill 2 is reduced by 1 yard. Florine is getting buffed. Her passive states are being redesigned. Now the ally with the Flower of Hope get 5% adaptive attack. And when it gets upgraded, it now grants 10% physical lifesteal plus 10% magical lifesteal. Also, a new effect is added where the allied heroes with the Flower of Hope gains a shield that can absorb damage each time when they are healed by Florine's skill. Once upgraded, the shield is increased and the hero's movement speed is increased too. Selena is getting nerfed. Her ultimate cooldown is increased by 1 second in the early game, which slightly reduces with the hero levels. Baksha is getting buffed now. His second skill cooldown in the late game is reduced by 2 seconds from 7 to 5 seconds. Edith is getting buffed now. Her passive damage to minions is now increased by 30% from 150% to 180%. Skill effects of Gusion'S hairstylist Elite skin is getting adjusted. The scissors are back. Now let's talk about the most anticipated event. Lesley's annual Starlight will look very similar to the previous year's Kagura Starlight skin. The single draw will cost you 25 diamonds. And the first draw will be discounted on daily basis and it will cost only 13 diamonds. Whereas the Thanx will cost you 250 diamonds. It will be discounted for Starlight members for the first 30 draws. The prize pool will contain epic skins, special skins, elite skins, normal skins, avatar border, 2022 Starlight Fest badge and elimination effect. So this is what Lesley's annual Starlight event will look like. Are you guys excited about it? Moving on to battlefield adjustments. Now cursed helmet and molten essence damage against minions and creeps is increased from 250% to 210 to 350%, which will scale with hero level. And sailing advanced boot will now return 30% gold instead of 20%. Lastly, we have bug fixes. They have adjusted how Argus' ultimate is cast. He can now cast his ultimate while his skills are still being cast. They have fixed an issue where Baksha's ultimate wasn't interrupted after his respawn shield activated. They have fixed an issue where the enemy was unable to see or hear the warning effect of Lapu Lapu's ultimate when used from the bush. So guys, that will be all for this video. Do comment down which changes you like the most. Thank you guys for watching. Keep supporting Kazuki Official.